Hey there, and welcome to Haunted Halls. I'm your guide through the shadows, bringing you chilling stories that will keep you up at night. Before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more nightmares. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. I'd love to know who else is awake with me. Now, let's step into the darkness. It happened 2 weeks ago, and I still don't know what to make of it. I haven't told anyone because, honestly, I don't think I could explain it in a way that makes sense. But I need to get it out. Maybe writing it down will help. I live in an old apartment building, one of those places where the hallways always smell faintly of dust and something else you can't quite place. The elevator works when it wants to, and the stairwell lights flicker if you walk too fast past them. But it's cheap, and I'm not picky. That night, I got home late. I was exhausted, half asleep by the time I stepped off the elevator onto my floor. The hallway was quiet. No TVs blaring through the walls. No arguing neighbors. Just the hum of the flickering lights. I reached my door, dug into my pocket for my key, and stopped. My door was open. Not just unlocked, open. A few inches, enough to see the darkness inside. I stood there, trying to remember if I had locked it before leaving. I always do. Always. I pushed it open slowly. The apartment was silent. Everything looked normal. My couch, my desk, the pile of dishes I hadn't touched. But something felt off. I stepped inside and shut the door behind me. That's when I noticed it. The closet door. It was open. Not wide, just a crack, like someone had been standing behind it and didn't close it all the way. My chest tightened. I took a step closer, every instinct telling me to turn around, to leave, to run. But I had to look. I had to see. I reached out and pushed the door open. Nothing. Just my coats hanging there, my shoes on the floor. The same as always. I let out a shaky breath, feeling stupid. Maybe I had forgotten to lock the door. Maybe the wind from the hallway pushed it open. I tried to shake it off, but that feeling, that wrongness, stayed. I locked up, checked every corner of the apartment twice, then got into bed. I barely slept. The next morning, I went about my usual routine, trying to forget about it. I almost convinced myself it was nothing. Then I left for work, and I saw it. The closet door was open again, just a crack, like someone had been standing there, watching. I travel a lot for work, so I've stayed in my fair share of hotels, cheap motels off the highway, high-rise chains in busy cities, even the occasional bed and breakfast. But there's one I'll never go back to. I checked in late after a long day of meetings. It was one of those mid-tier hotels, clean enough, forgettable decor, the kind of place business travelers cycle through without thinking twice. The front desk clerk barely looked up as she handed me my key. Room 803. The elevator ride up felt longer than it should have, like it took an extra second between each floor. When the doors finally slid open, I stepped into a dimly lit hallway. The carpet was a dull red, a little worn, but nothing unusual. I found my room at the end of the hall, swiped my key, and stepped inside. Everything looked normal. A bed, a desk, a small TV mounted to the wall. The air had that faint, stale hotel smell. Air conditioning and leftover cleaning products. I set my bag down, locked the door, and got ready for bed. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up. It took me a second to realize why. The room was too quiet. Hotels always have some kind of background noise. Air vents humming, distant voices. The occasional door slamming. But this, nothing. I reached for my phone to check the time. 2:14 a.m. That's when I noticed the door. Not the front door. The one leading to the hallway. The bathroom door. I was sure I had left it open. I always do. But now, it was closed. I sat up, listening. No water running. No movement. Just silence. I told myself the air conditioning could have shifted it. Or maybe I had closed it without thinking. I got up, walked over, and pushed it open. The bathroom was empty. I shook off the unease and went back to bed. Eventually, I drifted off. The next morning, I packed up and took the elevator down. When the doors opened, I stepped out, expecting the lobby. Instead, I was in another hallway. A hallway that looked exactly like mine. Same red carpet. Same dim lighting. But something was wrong. The air felt thick, heavy, like the whole place had been sealed off for years. I turned around to get back in the elevator, but the doors had already shut. I hit the button. Nothing. A cold unease crept up my spine. I checked my phone. No signal. I started walking. The hallway stretched longer than I remembered. Room numbers passed in a blur. 805, 807, 809. Number 803. I turned a corner. Another hallway, identical to the last. Then I saw it. At the end of the hall, the elevator doors were open. I hurried toward them, my footsteps muffled by the carpet. But as I got closer, something felt off. I stepped inside, pressed the lobby button. The doors didn't close. The lights inside flickered, and for a split second, I saw something in the reflection, a room behind me where there shouldn't be one. The door was open, the bathroom door. Then the elevator jerked and started moving. When the doors finally opened, I was in the lobby. Everything looked normal. People checked out, ate breakfast, talked on their phones. I turned back to the elevator. The floor indicator above the doors blinked. 7, 6, 5, 4. But it never showed 8. I didn't ask questions. I didn't check out. I just left. Later that day, curiosity got the best of me. I looked up the hotel's floor plan. There was no 8th floor. I was never the kind of kid who got into trouble. I didn't sneak out. I didn't break rules. But when I was 13, I did something I wasn't supposed to. It was the last day of school before summer break, and my mom had to work late. She told me to stay at the library until she could pick me up. It was one of those older public libraries, the kind with creaky wooden shelves, and a quiet that felt almost too deep. I was supposed to wait near the entrance. I got bored. After wandering through the aisles for a while, I found a door at the back of the library. It was small, almost hidden between two towering bookshelves. No signs, no windows. I tried the handle. It was unlocked. Inside, a single light buzzed overhead, casting a sickly yellow glow. It wasn't a storage closet, more like a forgotten section of the library. Rows of shelves lined the walls, filled with books that looked older than the building itself. No titles on the spines, just plain covers in faded reds and blues. I stepped inside. The air was heavy, dry. I ran my fingers along the books, wondering why they were back here. Some had no text inside, just blank, brittle pages. Others had words, but the letters didn't form real sentences. They looked jumbled, out of order. I should have left right then. But one book caught my eye. It was different, newer, with a black leather cover. No title, no markings. I opened it. Inside, there were names, pages and pages of them, handwritten in neat rows. Each name had a date next to it. Some were from decades ago, some from just a few days earlier. I turned the page. There, at the very bottom, was my name and today's date. I slammed the book shut, my pulse hammering in my ears. My first thought was that someone was playing a joke, but I hadn't told anyone I was here. I hadn't even seen anyone else in the library for at least an hour. I put the book back exactly where I found it and rushed out of the room. When I got back to the main area, the librarian was gone. The front desk was empty. The whole library was silent. Too silent. I walked to the entrance. The doors wouldn't open. Not locked. Just stuck. Like they weren't meant to move. I pounded on the glass, called out for help, but no one heard me. Then behind me, a soft rustling sound. Like pages turning. I didn't look. I just shut my eyes and kept pushing on the doors, willing them to open. And then, without a sound, they did. I stumbled outside, into the parking lot, heart racing. The moment I stepped past the threshold, everything was normal again. Cars passing, people walking. The library lights glowing behind me like nothing had happened. I never went back. I never told anyone. But sometimes late at night, I think about that book. I wonder how many names came after mine. And I wonder if, somewhere, someone is turning the page.